Welcome into the Crypto Bunker podcast. The bull run is just getting started. Let's look at some charts and we will get started with the OP chart, Optimism. This is a coin that I think will do really well this cycle. Um, we got a full reset on the RSI on the weekly, basically all the way down to the lowest point that it's been. And we see that even with a lower RSI, we were still able to hold this above this previous low on the RSI. We were able to hold the $1 level. We were also able to hold this small support that we had here. And so we're still in this upward channel, in my opinion. And if we look further into the bull, I do think we have a chance here for Optimism to do, probably a 5 to 10x from here. Um, it might sound crazy, but the fundamentals for OP are very strong. I do think we have the opportunity with OP to have a lot of businesses that are looking to get into layer two solutions that are going to go to Optimism. So think about BlackRock, think about banks, think about any business. Like any business could do a layer two solution, and most likely they're going to choose the one that has the most liquidity, the one that has the most businesses already on it. So right now we have Coinbase, who's on the Optimism stack with their own layer two. We have Kraken with their new layer two Inc., which is also going to be on the OP stack. We have Uniswap with Unichain. They've chosen the OP stack. You have World Chain, which is Sam Altman's project, which has chosen the OP stack. And you have, I believe, Sony as a company has chosen the OP stack as well. So there are a lot of companies already building. I may have missed some, honestly, on that. I know that there's also other layer two solutions that are not necessarily businesses, which have chosen the OP stack. I believe you have Blast, which is a layer two solution that is on the OP stack. And if you go to l2beat.com, you can see all of that OP is basically just the dominant choice for many of these companies. And if we look at the chart, basically what we see is higher highs and higher lows. And it's not the most beautiful thing, but it really did hold. And, it's kind of coming off of this basing now. And I think it's ready to shine. And I think it's going to show a lot of people. And if you think about it, a lot of the tokens have been sold into the market that these people have received. And I think it's just time. I think that you can see the accumulation in the chart based on these higher lows. And yeah, so now we're looking at higher highs, and I think that you could see an $8 to $9 OP token if we get an ETH run, right? So we still need Ethereum to run. And that's what I'm going to get into today is looking at Ethereum, really doing a deep dive here. Because I know I talked to you guys as well about Tau as a token. We can look at Tau. I do think Tau will do a 10x from here. So just a disclaimer, none of this is financial advice. This is just my opinion. Just trying to help people out because I know that people are in a tough financial situation in the world right now. And as much as crypto can be a little bit gambling, it may not be the best thing in the world that you to do, but it's also not the worst. And it's better than like throwing your money away on sports gambling, right? But I honestly think that this is an opportunity of a lifetime in some ways, and it's really hard for me to say this, but I'm actually not going to be investing in Tau for this cycle. And it's crazy, right? People, you might say like, why are you not investing in Tau? Um, and maybe we'll just go to the Tau chart while I'm talking about it, because that's fine. But yeah, so I'm not going to be investing in Tau. I actually, I was invested in it from about, I don't know, 450 to 700, and then I sold it um, into Bitcoin, and then Tau crashed and Bitcoin kind of stayed. So it was actually a really good trade. Um, but then, the reason I sold it was it's actually a spiritual thing for me. Like I can't support artificial intelligence. And I don't want to be someone that is making money on the proliferation of artificial intelligence throughout the world. I don't think it's good for humanity, in a spiritual sense. I think it could even be a bad thing. I think that in some cases it can be good, but when I look at some of the stuff that they're building, there's stuff like Tau God, and it's just weird. There's stuff I don't want to get fully into it, but um, empathetic speech, this sort of mimicking of character AI, where I just don't think it's good for young people to be interacting with these AIs as much as they currently are. And I just think it's just not a good scene. And so I do think it will be the dominant narrative of the cycle. So, if you want to make money, and you may not really understand the deeper spiritual aspect of what I'm talking about, and that may be, not your thing. That's fine. And so, this is definitely something that I think will lead on this cycle. So just a disclaimer there. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, I actually moved then from Tau to Bitcoin to now ETH and Optimism, because I think that ETH will actually outperform Bitcoin, which is really hard to say right now because it's been getting crushed by Bitcoin. So if we look at the ETH Bitcoin ratio, basically what I wanted to focus on was, you can see when Trump was inaugurated in 2017, um, how ETH did there. It obviously killed Bitcoin in that aspect. And then even when Biden was inaugurated, there was an ETH pump and then sort of a dump, which is interesting. I guess Bitcoin was just mooning at that point, and maybe ETH had already mooned and was sort of taking a break, and then it mooned again. But ETH really was battling the Biden administration pretty hard throughout the entirety of these 4 years here. So you can see that the majority of the Biden administration, um, with ETH, you could say, you know, you could say maybe from it was sort of went sideways. If you could really say, like, from inauguration to right now, it's literally gone just directly sideways. And that's actually pretty damn good, if you think about it, right? Because you have um, you have a battle that was going on, against ETH from the Biden administration, from the White House. And you can see it's down 63% currently, right now. It's down 63% from the high in 2021. Um, and so I think it has a lot of catching up to do. Trump holds a lot of ETH. He has ETH NFTs. His son Barron is like running his account and has like Aave, Uniswap. They're like ETH heads. Like they have an ETH DeFi project. Um, all this stuff. And I think that like what Raoul Pal has said as well makes sense that ETH is like the institutional place that you can go and like you can really put your money to work there, like in terms of the banks, in terms of the big companies that they want the security, they definitely, if they're going to put assets and like real world assets on chain, they definitely want the more secure, the one that's been around longer. I think Solana is kind of just like a gambling frenzy. I just can't see like companies actually going on to Solana in this cycle. Potentially next cycle, you could see that. I'll give you that, but I just don't think it can happen in this cycle. And I'm basically showing here, the beginning of the post-halving year, which obviously ETH in the post-halving year has outperformed Bitcoin in its every cycle. So that's kind of cool to have that. It also really hates December, so it doesn't do well against Bitcoin in December. Um, and so in January, it usually goes up against Bitcoin. I think it's just starting that move now. We can also see the RSI, it basically a full reset here at this point. I mean, you could say in RSI terms, we're sort of like back in these kind of areas here for matching this RSI down here with this RSI here, sort of similar move here, right? So we're maybe even in the early stages. Maybe this is an extended cycle. Um, maybe this is a cycle that goes until like through January 2026. I wouldn't really be surprised, especially with ETH, if ETH mooned and actually topped in January of next year rather than where it topped last time. We can look at the ETH chart real quick. Like where it topped last time was November. It basically topped like a week after Bitcoin or something like that. That's not totally normal. I mean, it topped here in January in 2018. So you could see a top in 2026 of January. Okay, something so that we would still have we still have more room to run for ETH. Like we have a full year basically of what I would consider at this point to be sort of an up only environment. Um, Even, when you look, we can take away the reversal indicator, but even on like a 3 month time frame, ETH, it really hasn't gotten started. And you can sort of see that ETH is kind of like a coiled spring here. I mean, it's really not done much, even from the bottom. It's kind of just gone sideways. It doesn't really, I mean, the RSI is not very high for a 3 month chart. Um, you can see obviously we got to 83 before, we're at 64 now. Um, it's just it doesn't really have the and then let's take a look at the moving average ribbons because I usually like to focus on those for like certain purposes. And yeah, we're right now we took support on the 3 month 20, the 20, and like what you can see here is basically once we close the next quarter above 3,700, which we're very close to now, you could really see ETH run. I'm telling you. I mean, I don't think people understand the amount of pent up energy is what I would call it, or um like A few things, a few things. So with ETH, first of all, with ETH, you have long-term holders. Okay. There's tons of ETH that is locked away. It's just gone forever. It's not coming back. Um, it's locked in DeFi. It's locked in restaking. It's locked in staking. It's um, it's also in the hands of a lot of people who are long-term holders. They're long-term stakers. You know, they might take some staking income off the table, but they're not taking their main bags off the table because that's their income. Um, and so I think it's underestimated with ETH because I think a lot of the ETH community has actually just kind of left the crypto Twitter verse. They're not really around, you know, they're sort of like more chill than the Bitcoin people. Like they're very like normal people. You know, they're out in the Colorado mountains somewhere with like, you know, 17 validators and they're sort of just like living their life. Um, and so you have those people, right? You have the long-term holders. Then you have the crypto degens. Now, the crypto degens have completely and utterly left the Ethereum narrative. Okay, they're not there. They might have some NFTs in their wallet. Maybe they have like some ETH dust in their wallet or something, but most of them don't have ETH as like a main bag position. There are a few groups that do still do that have, you know, support like the Milk Road podcast. Shout out to those guys. I've seen them before with some good ETH content. Um, but I just think that like there's more long-term holders in ETH than people realize, and people who are just committed to this like through like a long term hold. The other thing is you have the AI narrative. Okay, now the AI and like the AI agents and all this stuff, again, I don't really support it, but I will say it's very possible that ETH, the token ETH, becomes AI agents' store of value. Okay, they're not going to hold Bitcoin. Okay, like yes, Andreessen sent Bitcoin to that first AI agent, right? Um, the GOAT or whatever, but you can't really do anything with it. You can't use it as money. You can't use it as gas. You can't bridge it across to a different network. ETH is like the money of all crypto. Okay. Like Sol is not money. I don't really even know what Sol is. Um, I just personally can't get behind it because I don't understand it. I understand it's like a gambling thing where like you can, you know, do well in that aspect of things. But um, ETH to me, all of these like AI agents or whatever people are talking about, they're probably going to hold ETH and they're probably going to create a layer two on Optimism. So like, you know, to me, those are the two like ETH based trades that you want to do. I also think Uniswap and Aave, right? Because Aave is like the lending protocol that banks are going to use. And then you have Chainlink, um, you know, you have Chainlink, you have Aave, you have Uniswap. Okay, those are some other plays that I think that people could look into. Yeah, Uniswap right now it looks really good. It looks like it could go for sure. Um, so yeah, and then let's take a look at Bitcoin because that is obviously everyone's biggest bet. Actually, let's go back to ETH and look at the candles here that we're looking at. So again, we're still skinny here. This is nothing really. I mean, we got support. Usually in a bull run, you leave the moving averages behind, and we're not even crossed bullish yet. So really, I mean, you could I don't really know where you could say that we are. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's really hard to say because like even when we look at, January of 2021, we were already like way above and the moving averages, like we had already started the move. Um, so to me though, this is a pent up chart that really could get moving pretty quickly here. Um, and it's moving as we speak. I mean, it's continuously going up as we speak. So it's definitely one to look for. You can see that it's kind of gone up against this three times now, and the third time it didn't crash as much. And so now what we're potentially looking at is this, basically, I mean, if you take this and you actually say, okay, this is what it's going to do, which sometimes actually does work in crypto, it's pretty crazy price targets. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I mean, we could even say, okay, let's be conservative and take it from there. Yeah, I mean, that's about 20K. 20K for ETH, though, is a lot. I mean, that's like almost, it's going to be like 2.7 trillion market cap. Okay, so that's bigger than what Bitcoin is now. Um, wouldn't it be just so funny, though, and crazy, and people would just lose their minds if ETH actually went to 20K and Bitcoin was at 200K, and that would be zero point 0.1 on the ratio. And funny enough, that's basically where we topped last time. Right? So where do we top? Well, 0.08. 0.08. So I mean, think about that. ETH at 20K and Bitcoin at 180K. I mean, wouldn't that just be so max pain for everyone? I mean, just absolute max pain. Like, I mean, what if a company like Microsoft or something who voted against Bitcoin, they say, actually, we're starting our own layer two solution and we're going to hold ETH on our balance sheet. Like, why not? Why wouldn't a company do that? Um, I think some of these companies know that like this whole smart contract thing is a big deal. And I think that they know that Bitcoin has no utility besides being a store of value, which is a big utility. Okay. It's probably worth about 5 trillion. And that's kind of where I think we could see Bitcoin top out, somewhere around 200 to 230K. But in that scenario where ETH, in the ETH Bitcoin ratio can actually pop out of this wedge, um, why can't it hit these top levels over here if you have banks and Trump and all these people using DeFi and like you have, David Sachs as the crypto czar and you have, um, maybe you put voting on the blockchain, right? I mean, you could do all of this types of stuff. What about real world assets, right? Even Michael Saylor says there's going to be like $10 trillion of stable coins on the network, not on Bitcoin. So he didn't say where it's going to go, obviously, because he doesn't want him to say that. But he talked about real world assets. He said, why can't you trade Apple stock and in the middle of the night on a Saturday? And that is kind of where we could go. It's not going to work on Ethereum mainnet necessarily, but it could work on a layer two solution that settles to Ethereum. And again, I just don't see how they're going to put any of this stuff on Solana because Solana is too centralized. It's a gambling platform. it's all about memes and like, you know, it doesn't like the transactions don't go through sometimes. Like there's no way that any of that gets put on Solana. I think Solana is like a testing ground for something that could be in the future. But again, guys, this chart, to me, it's a massive wedge. And again, I'm not going to say, like, let's just say we take conservatively the move that we got from there. Um, and again, the time frame's not going to be right, but even that takes us to all-time highs. I'm not going to do, this one here because again, that's just too bullish. But I think it would just catch so many people off guard. It would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that just be so funny if if people got caught out like that? I mean, it would just be so ridiculous. This is one fractal I was looking at. It actually looked very similar to me to this, which was the top of the whole thing. So that would be bad. And that would be like this massive head and shoulders, and then you would go down and it would be over. Um, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. But you can see on the monthly, Bitcoin put in a really, really bad monthly candle here. But it's above the moving averages. It's not like anything crazy. But it did have a reversal monthly candle. So, you know, it just doesn't look good there. But I can say there's one other time. So you can see reversal monthly, reversal monthly, reversal monthly. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. But we can see in 2017 and in 2016, post halving, it did have a reversal monthly. And even especially here, you can see that it continued up and it didn't matter. That's only one example. But yeah, I mean, we could look also at the candlestick reversal. It also put in a candlestick reversal, which is insane because that's never happened. It's never happened that you have both a candlestick reversal and a reversal indicator reversal. So you have the R plus the candle. Never happened, yeah, at least from as far as I can see. It's never even happened on the downside either. There's never even, I mean, there's not even a reversal candle at all. We could look at it on the weekly just to see. It didn't put anything in on the weekly, so that's good. Because a lot of other times you can see it also did a weekly. So you can see all these tops also had weekly reversals, and this one did not. So that's actually huge. Not a lot of people use the monthly candles. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Don't get too worried here. But yeah, so there you go. Again, the weeklies are not even stretched yet. So I just don't think we're in a scenario like they're not even as stretched as they were here. We're sort of, again, I mean, we're just kind of coming through. And what I would say is they're probably here, right? Something like that. So if you take from here to this top, um, yeah, that might be too bullish, but it does have about a 327K target. But to me, that's kind of what it looks like. It almost looks like it's like a bigger time frame, but you could see like this was this, and then this was this. And then you consolidate it here, just like here. You put in a reversal even there. And then you popped off to the top there. So you could potentially say that for Bitcoin. But for me, it's really hard to it's hard to know. Like with Bitcoin, I'm more comfortable just sort of letting it all play out and not really selling and just kind of accumulating. For me, it's in my retirement account. I'm continuously accumulating every month. And it's actually not Bitcoin, it's BTCFX. So look for that in your retirement account. I think there's actually an ETH one coming too. It's a fund that is by Pro Funds. Um, so check that out. Let's look at some moving averages on Optimism as well. So on Optimism, we're actually catching support at the 20 week, which is good. And that's good to see. So, um, so yeah, we're catching support there. And we haven't really even come into something that has been a bull run on Optimism. This is all accumulation. Okay. So when you think about it, you could actually say, um, if we just take everything away here, let's just take it all off. Okay. So let's just look at this on a bigger frame. Don't you think that this is just all accumulation? I mean, I didn't even actually look, but I bet you this is a Wyckoff accumulation thing. Okay. And it really hasn't done anything yet. So what we could take is we could take the bottom to the top of this whole range here, and then we could attach that to the top of this, and we would get $50. Okay. That's not going to happen probably. So let's just be realistic. But let's also do one of these. See if we can pop that on the bottom there. That actually works pretty well. So that puts us at $14 to $16, and I like that as a target for Optimism. So that's about a 7x from here, something like that. I think that sounds reasonable. It's about a $2 billion circulating market cap. So that would put us at 14 billion. It would probably put us at about um, well, yeah, it would put us at about a $50 billion fully diluted market cap. So I think that's pretty reasonable. I don't know if it'll go to 100 billion. That was my old thesis, that it would go to 100 billion. So I was thinking like anywhere from like 20 to like $23 for Optimism. I think it's still possible because again, all you need is one company. I mean, because it's all you need is one company because it's such a small asset that wants to do a layer two solution, and they have to choose Optimism. You have the OP Superchain, and Coinbase is a public company, and they're building on Optimism. And Kraken's gonna be listed publicly eventually, and they're on Optimism. And World Chain is Sam Altman's project, and they're on Optimism. So there's a lot of momentum behind Optimism. Let's take a look also real quick. L2 beat. Okay. Let's look at L2 beat just to hammer this point home, and then we'll finish up. But again, you know, um, let's take a look at all the OP stack chains. You can see base, OP main, and OP mainnet's there. I mean, that's one that I didn't even mention. Still third on the TVL, and it's really nothing else is even close. Like it's base, and base is coming up on Arbitrum. So you also have OP mainnet that is now, more secure. It's in a stage one. So that's looking good. You have Blast, which is an optimistic rollup. You have World Chain. I don't know these other ones. Zirkit, Mode, Tyco, Bob, Lisk. Um, I don't know where. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if Ink is on here. But yeah, Zora. Okay, that's OP. Yeah, Ink. There it is. So that's Kraken. That will only keep increasing because they're going to move money across for sure, and they're not going to mess around. So again, I just think that a lot of you can see that OPs just dominates. Um, you can just I mean, let's see if there's yeah. I mean, you can't really you can just see all the OP stack chains in comparison. There's really no comparison. Um, so look, I think this is all accumulation. Maybe we can look at a Wyckoff accumulation just for fun. I know that it's gonna like less people will click on this video because it's a longer thing. Well, let's see this. See if this makes sense. For a second, I thought I saw the OP chart there. Um, I don't know if that necessarily. So, so I think, yeah, okay. So you could say the accumulation is supposed to have um, a preliminary support, a secondary test, and then a spring. So let's see if we have that. Preliminary support, spring. Here's the spring, right? Am I crazy or am I seeing that? Comment below if you're still with me. Let's actually just delete all this and see what we got. Um, so basically what this is saying is that I think it's saying if you could take it from here, yeah, I think that's right. You could actually start this accumulation cycle here. And then what you have is um, and this is like a weekly, like, so it's actually hard. It's way harder to tell, I think. Um, but yeah, what you have, I think, from what it's looking like to me, is you have the test, the secondary test, and then um, you have a move, and this is a huge move in comparison to what that is. And then you have a spring, which the spring sort of it's like it for OP, it didn't actually even go below this. But now what you need to do is you need to come up to the top. And I don't know, guys, if this is right, but what you need to do now is you need to come up to the top and you need to kind of just sit there and stay for a second. Um, and that would be a sign of strength. So um, now you could also say, are we in a distribution phase? Did we finish the distribution phase though? Because you could look at that, but I don't think that's where we're at. So okay, so we looked at that for a second. I don't know. To me, this does just look like accumulation, this whole thing. So it really hasn't done much yet. Um, let's look at this too. Let's look at this. Let's reverse it. Let's reverse it. Oh, yeah. Oh man, this is bullish. Okay, so what we have is we have a reverse head and shoulders. Um, so so yeah, we have a reverse head and shoulders. We have a shoulder here, and we have a shoulder here, and we have a head here. Pretty big one too. Um, So what we need to measure then is this move there. Wait. Oh, wait. Now I'm confused. Oh boy. Okay. Uh, let's go back to regular. Okay. No, this would be bearish, actually. Technically. I was trying to look for some kind of bullish head and shoulders, but it sort of looks like a bearish head and shoulders, actually. Um, but we have to have a bias towards a bull market, so that doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. Obviously, it's not going to go to zero, so that doesn't really work. And again, what I see here is just it's just like higher highs and higher lows. The activity on the OP chain as well. Let's see if we can look just like somehow on the yeah, if we can look, can we just set it to first of all, look at the layer two, like total value locked. Okay, Ethereum is dominating. We know that. So what I want to see is can I just see um anyway, all right. I think I'm gonna end it here. Hopefully you guys got something out of the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment below what you think. Let me know and I'll hear from you soon.